you lead me to my doom, yeah.
Hello again, gamers. Welcome back to the Board Game Captain. I'm the Captain.
I'm Lynn.
And today we're going to be counting down our top 10 favorite family weight games. So we kind of talked about it and we decided that we define a family weight game as a game that can be played by all members of the family, generally at once. So these are games that have fairly low age requirements. That, you know, something that can be played by someone who's maybe around 8 to 10 years old.
I didn't look at the age requirements. I just thought, is that a game that a child could handle?
But also would be enjoyable enough that parents would like. Mm-hmm. And also have player counts that accommodate...
At least 4.
Yeah, I had a lot where I was like, oh, this is so family weight. And I was like, wait a minute, that's only 2 players. And then I couldn't put them on the list. There were a bunch where I was like, this would be such a good family weight game if only it had a different player count. So I did my list by, so I had the requirements that they had to fit that family weight very strongly. And then I did them in the order of how much I liked them. How'd you do yours?
I did the same thing.
Oh, okay.
I was waffling on how to do it, and I decided to just do that to make it easy on myself.
Okay. All right. So without any further ado, let's get into our list with our number 10s. Number 10. Did you want to go first or second for this list?
I'll go first.
Okay, well, give us your number 10 then.
My number 10 is Takanoku.
Ah.
It's the one where I didn't put them in like order. So that's why I need the pencil.
You're crossing them off as you go. Okay, so go ahead.
I just wrote a number next to them.
So go ahead.
So it's the one with the pandas.
Yeah.
And they move around and they eat the bamboo. And,
it's adorable.
Yeah.
You have actions you can take in there to build the board. You have actions you can take. It's got like pattern forming, set collecting.
Yeah, there's like three different kinds of cards, I think.
Yeah, there's
depending on what it is.
And to achieve your goals, the cards are your goals, and to achieve your goals, you either have to have stalks of bamboo at certain combinations and heights,
or like certain
pattern amongst the board.
Terrains on the board.
Or also you have to have the panda have eaten a certain number. Because when you get the panda to eat things, you get to collect those pieces of bamboo and put them on your board. Wow, that's a great game. A lot of fun. I no disagreement with you on that. Plus the pandas are adorable, and kids love adorable game pieces. So some adults love adorable game pieces too. I'm a fan. So anything else you want to talk about with Takanoku? Okay, I agree with your choice wholeheartedly. So my number 10 is Space Park. So Space Park is a fun little space-themed kind of a big rondel of a game, because the board is one rondel and you move the spaceships around the board, and then sort of do kind of a worker placement where wherever the spaceship lands, you can do the ability on that space, and you're trying to collect amounts of gems to be able to trade them in for gold cards. And then the gold cards, like, some gold cards are worth a lot of points, but then don't have much of, or in some cases, even any special ability on them. But then other gold cards are worth less points, but then give you really good special abilities to help boost your abilities throughout the game. So you want to get like the low gold cards first to get better abilities, to then later get the big gold cards and get the more points, so that eventually you'll wind up with the most points at the end of the game. And plus, the game looks gorgeous. I love the space artwork and the kind of cartoonish 50s looking rockets are very family friendly and very cool. I think it's a great one. What do you think about Space Park?
Yeah, I agree.
Totally agree. I wonder if both of ours will be on each other's lists later. No? Oh, okay. Right. Number 9.
Let's see. My number 9 is Scattergories.
Oh, a classic.
Yes. Going old school.
All right.
It's a word game where you roll a big old die. And
big old die.
Yeah, there's like 24 letters. I think it's a 24-sided.
Yeah, because it's missing just a couple that are really hard.
That aren't on there.
Like, I don't think it has X.
Yeah.
Because that would be too hard to do every word with an X.
And then you get a list of things, and you have to write down a word for each item that starts with the letter you roll.
And the items could be things like something in this room, or an animal, or
the name of a movie, or...
So then, like, if you got B, you might say for something in this room, a boy, or you might say
board games.
Oh, board games. Oh, perfectly. And if you have the same thing written, so if let's say for a movie, we both put Brotherhood of the Wolf, then we cancel each other out, and we don't get the points.
It has to be unique. And if you have if it's something that has multiple words that start with the same letter, you get a point for each word that starts with it, but it can't, like, one can't be an adjective unless that's actually what it's called.
Yeah, it's got to be proper alliteration.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of a good title of something.
Like if it was a celebrity and you said Kim Kardashian,
right,
that would be fine. But if it was like, if it said, or even like if it said animal, brown bear is technically,
that would work.
Brown is an adjective, but it's the actual name of the bear,
right?
You know.
But you couldn't describe it if it's not actually part of its name. Yeah, no, and that's a pretty good description actually. Yeah, and categories is a lot of fun. I totally agree with you. It missed my list, but actually, when I was making my short list of games that might make my list, it was on my short list. It just I had to cross it out because
a good example of what you couldn't do is if it was like a craft item and you wrote yellow yarn. Yeah. Because yarn would be fine, but you can't get an extra point just by saying it's yellow.
Exactly. Okay, fair enough. All right, so my time for my number 9. My number 9 is a bit of a tile placement game. Got a lot of spatial awareness in it. Some lovely bright colors, but also different shapes to help with people who are colorblind. It's an all-around fantastic game. Have you guessed what it is yet?
Locusts?
Nope, lanterns.
Okay.
Lanterns. So Lanterns is a fantastic game that I always tout as being like a modern-day replacement to Dominoes. It's a really good game. You place these 4-sided tiles that have different color lanterns, and the lanterns are also different shapes to help with people who are colorblind. And what happens is, when you place a lantern tile down, whatever matches you make, so if you match red to red, you get to take a red card. And then you play with everybody sitting around the table. Whatever lanterns are facing you, you get a color of that card. So if I place it where red matched red, but then there's a blue facing me, I also get a blue card. But then if Lynn's sitting facing that red that matched the other red, she gets a red card. And so on and so forth. And you collect the cards to try to be able to turn them in for point tiles. And the point tiles require certain sets of cards. Like there's one stack of point tiles that it's three pairs of different types of cards, so like 2 reds and 2 blues and whatever it might be. And the higher tiles on the stack are always worth more. So you want to get to them first. You want to really quickly as possible, get these sets of various tiles to get the points before your opponents do. Anything you want to say about lanterns? I know you are a fan of it.
No, just that I forgot it existed.
You forgot? Oh, is this one that would have made your list if you had remembered it was a game?
I don't know. I don't think I really think of it as a family weight.
It really feels like it to me.
Okay.
Do you disagree though? You don't think it is?
I mean, I think it's fine.
Is it one of those? Then it's kind of like on the edge for you, where it could go either way. I feel like it's family weight because the game rules are very easy.
Okay.
And that's really what pushes it. Plus, you can play it at 4 players.
Yeah.
And it's actually, in my opinion, best at 4 players because when you have one person on every side of the table, that whole thing, if everybody gets a card, is really great. But anyway, so that was my number 9, lanterns. Number 8.
My number 8 is Potion Explosion. What?
Nothing.
What are you laughing at?
No, I'm just smiling. I love Potion Explosion.
I mean, you got the little potions in front of you that you need to put the marbles on to make the potions, and it's got that contraption where you grab the marbles and they roll down and they clank, and it's awesome.
And when they clank, if the same color clanks together when you pull a marble out, they explode, and you get those too. And then you got to try to fill up your potions, and then your potions give you one-off abilities that you can use throughout the game. Great choice. Potion Explosion's a great game. Did you have anything else you wanted to add about that?
No.
Okay. So my number 8 favorite family weight game is Potion Explosion, which is why I was smiling. I thought it was pretty funny.
Okay.
It's
because the 2 parts of the 8 look like marbles.
Oh, I didn't even maybe it's a subconscious thing. I didn't even think of that. Okay, but so the game is fantastic. It feels like one of those little, like Candy Crush or various other puzzle games done as a board game, but done right. It's really good, and I love. My favorite part of Potion Explode. My two favorite parts are one, the pulling and causing chain reactions where a bunch of stuff clacks together, it blows up too. Bunch more stuff clacks together, it blows up too. As long as the same colors keep clacking, you keep getting to grab them, then you use what you can. My second favorite of the two favorite parts is the one-use potions, because the potions, you change it up every game. You deal out a random group of potions from amongst the choices, and they can give you some really cool abilities that you can use once per game. Then, oh, I'm going to drink this potion, and for this one, I get to do this extra super cool ability and get some extra marbles that I can use to fill up my other potions because of it. And I get a real kick out of that. There's a lot of really cool abilities in the game. So, yeah, that's why it's my number 8 also. Number 7.
My number 7 is Dice Miner.
Oh.
So it's another one where it has a thing, but instead of marbles, it's dice. What are you doing?
This is one of those that didn't make my list because I didn't think of it as family weight, but maybe I should have. Actually,
you were just like...
I was just like, why didn't I think of this game? This game is great. That's literally what I was thinking.
Well,
Go on.
And you get dice from the Dice Mountain, and then you get to roll a massive amount of dice.
You draft dice off the top. I love go on.
You roll them.
Well, you first you're set collecting them, but then between rounds you do have to re-roll them to see what they're going to be. But you're trying to it's mostly drafting and set collecting that game. But the three-dimensional tower is very fun. I thoroughly agree with you, and this might have made my list if I'd have remembered about it and remembered that it was a worker placement game, which we even played it recently, so I don't know why I didn't think of it. This is one of those where I'm like, why did this not come into my head while I was making this list? Yeah, I don't know. All right. Anything else you want to say about Dice Miner?
No.
My number, we're up to 7. Yes. My number 7 favorite family weight game is one that I wonder if is on your list or if you remembered it existed, because we seem to have a lot of that so far. Baron Park. So I adore Baron Park. Baron Park is this wonderfully puzzly game with Tetris-shaped pieces. You have to draft the pieces to be able to place them on the board and build out a bear zoo. And when you're placing the pieces, the way you do the drafting is whatever you cover, it covers symbols that then allow you to draft other pieces. And you want to be the first to fill in all your spaces. You start with one big square to build on, and one of the symbols you cover will let you get another square. And you get, I think, 4 squares total, and the first person to fill in all 4 of the squares usually gets the most points, but not necessarily at the end of the game. You still have to count up the points, because the quicker you draft a lot of tiles, the more points they're actually worth. And then also, like, the quicker you fill in a particular square with your tiles, the higher point value statue you get to put on that square, which is also worth more points. Baron Park is a lot of fun. I've never seen anyone have a bad time even just losing at this game, because it's so good. And it feels like a very family-like game to me. What do you think?
Yes.
Thoroughly agreeing? Is it possibly on your list? Number 6.
Okay, my number 6 is Noctiluca.
This one was on my short list, but didn't quite make it. Really good game.
Yeah, it uses dice in like this underwater
pond. I think it's like a pond. Yeah, it's like a pond.
And you have to
you put a pawn in one. Sure.
Yeah, and you get the dice of like all. Is it color?
No, you pick a number. If you put a die on one short.
Yeah, it's the dice of all one number in like a straight line.
Yeah.
And then you have to put them on your little.
On your scorecards based on the colors.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing is you take them based on the numbers, but then place them based on the colors. And placing them based on the colors actually feels very similar to another game we both already have on the list, which is Potion Explosion, because it's got that similar like placing of the colors thing. Though the drafting is totally different for Noctiluca.
Yeah.
That's a really good game. I I did not think to put Noctiluca on my... Well, I thought of it. It didn't quite make my list, but it is a really good game, and it was one I struggled with to cut off. I'm glad it's on yours since I cut mine off. Anything else on Noctiluca?
No.
Okay. So that was your number 6, yes?
Yes.
So my number 6 is Railroad Rivals. This is a great, fun family weight game about building the Transcontinental Railroad, but it's way more fun than the horrible time that the real people had building the Transcontinental Railroad. It's a tile placement game, and you get to, when you place tiles, you get to place these little railroad tokens to show the rail lines. And then you get to move cargo across the rail lines, which lets you earn points. And you also get to buy stock in the different railways. And like when you move the cargo across the certain railways, you get to raise the stock, which is going to be worth more and more points as the game goes on. It sounds more complicated than it is. I promise this is actually a family weight game. It's like a family weight version. It's kind of like how once upon a time when people would play Monopoly, which no one should anymore, even though there was a lot of like property speculation in that it was still a family weight game. This is about stock and is still a family weight game because you have stock in the different railroad companies. But this is actually, in my opinion, a really good replacement for Monopoly. And is tons of... You enjoy this one a lot too, yeah?
Yes, but I like it at 2 players. So...
Okay. But I like it at 4 players. I've played it at 4 and
I
quite
mean,
like
it's
it
a
at 4.
family weight game, but I don't...
But you prefer it at 2 players.
I don't like to play it with more than 2 players.
That's fair enough. Number 5.
And my number 5 is Woodlands.
Oh, I didn't even think of this one.
And it's you have mazes.
Yeah.
That you need to get your person through, and there's like these clear overlays.
You gotta say who the people are, though, because it's all based on great fictional characters.
Yeah, the first one is Little Red Riding Hood.
Yes.
There's
and there's like 4 adventures with her.
I think she has 3.
Is it only 3? Okay.
But
everyone has like 3 to 4, right?
Yeah, and then next is like Robin Hood, and then there's King Arthur and Dracula.
Yeah.
Which Dracula is not going on an adventure. He's the baddie.
Yeah, I think, are you Van Helsing in Dracula?
Yes.
I think, yeah, okay. But it's like a family-friendly version. Like, they're cartoony looking. It's not horror-themed.
You have a bunch of tiles that you have to put on your board and make a maze. And then you use the overlay and you see how well you did and try and get your person. There's a little standee that you can use to put your person through the maze.
It's really cool. And it's like real-time. It's real time so it's like real time, and you play until one person finishes their maze, and then they can't change it. They flip the timer, and then everyone else has until the timer runs out to finish their mazes. And then you check to see how many points you can get, because it's like with Little Red Riding Hood, she's got to avoid the wolf, and she's got to she's got to go get her basket.
And there's like, I think in the first one, it's like she's collecting strawberries on her way to Grandma's house.
Which every strawberry you can get to gets you more points. It's a really fun little game. This is not even one it didn't occur to me, but yeah, it's a good one. I don't, even if it occurred to me, I don't think it would have made my list, but it would have been like on my short list to make my list. You know what I mean? It just probably would have been cut off though, because I don't think I like it better than Space Park. So
okay,
but yeah, but it is a good one. I like that you have it on your list. That was your number 5, right?
Yes.
My number 5 is Carnival of Monsters. So Carnival of Monsters is one that, while it's recommended I think it was recommended to ages 12 and up on the box, it's one of those ones that's a little, like, it's rated too high. It's behind us.
Yeah, it is 12 and up.
Yeah, but it's, so I was on Board Game Geek, and the community says they think it, according to the community voting, that it should be 10 and up. So I went with that. I'm like, it probably should be, because it's very easy. Like, you're drafting and set collecting lands that you then use to draft and set collect monsters that you're putting in, like a zoo, like a menagerie, a carnival, if you will. And but then you have, there's a little bit of a press your luck element to it, because you're trying to collect monsters, and usually the more dangerous monsters are the ones worth more points. But then there's the danger of them getting loose and causing havoc at the end of the round. If you don't have enough monster hunters to keep them in check, as well as you get to roll some dice that randomly could give you cage symbols, which lets you cancel out some of the dangerous monsters. So they could be worth a lot of points, but they could also make you lose points if they get loose. But yeah, Carnival of Monsters is just a really fun Mostly like a card game. It's got a board, but the board is mostly like a placeholder. It's a really fun card game that uses a lot of set collecting and drafting. And it's got, you know, fun monsters and lots of fun mechanics in it. So yeah, that's why Carnival of Monsters is my number 5 favorite family weight game. Number 4.
My number 4 is Baron Park.
I thought it might make your list. We've had a few crossovers.
Because who doesn't like to build a park for bears?
It's great. It's such a good game. And I'm not even surprised that it's higher on your list than it is mine, because you love Baron Park. It's a really good game. Now, we did say a lot about it already. Did you have anything else you wanted to say about Baron Park? Okay, so I'm going to move on to my number 4 then. My number 4 favorite family weight game is Mysterium. This is a game that's been in our collection for years at this point and still hits the table. We will still have occasional game nights to pull out Mysterium, and it is tons of fun. And it is like the very definition of a family weight game to me, because it feels like you have one of the parents take on the role of the ghost, because that's the more advanced role, and then everybody else kind of works together as the psychics to try to figure out what the ghost is trying to hint you at, as the ghost tries to hint you towards a person, a place, and a thing that has something to do with why the ghost was murdered. And in that way, it feels like very much an update to Clue, but better, way better, and the way it works is much more interesting. There's a total asymmetrical game going on here, because the ghost plays completely different. The ghost player plays completely different from the psychics, but it is totally cooperative. You're all on the same side, so you all win or lose. There is one person who wins a little more, but you all win or lose together. And it's a really great game with absolutely beautiful artwork. And because of how it's cooperative, even people who are younger than its normal age recommendation can totally play this game, because the other people can help them out. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Number 3.
My number 3 is Cat Lady.
That's a great one.
And in Cat Lady, you're trying to collect cats to become the greatest cat lady. But you also have to feed the cats. So you need to also get enough food to feed the cats to get their points.
Yeah, because it is bad to not feed the cats.
Yes, you don't. If the cats are not fully fed with their preferred foods, then you don't get their victory points.
There's also a lot of set collecting in this too, because in addition to the cats and getting the food, there's also getting costumes for the cats. There's also getting enough catnip. And wait, there's more to toys. There's a thing where you can set collect lots of different kinds of toys, which can get you lots of points too. So it's a total set collecting card game, and drafting too, because like you pick a row or a column to draft. There's a lot of drafting and set collecting on this list. It's not a drafting or set collecting list, but I'm just noticing that we both put a lot of draft. I mean, because those are easy mechanics.
Yeah, I think it's just because it's easy to grasp.
So that makes it a good for family weight games for sure. So that was your number 4, yes? No,
that was
3. That was 3. My number 3, and let me just check on this. Yes, my number 3 is not only from a designer that has already appeared on my list. One of their games is already on my list. I believe it is the only, as far as I can tell, designer to appear twice on this list. But this designer designs a fair number of family weight games these days, and they do some really good ones. Any guesses as to who it might be or what game it might be?
No idea.
Okay, so it is Glenn Drover, and he is a very good designer. He previously, the previous game of his that's on my list is Railroad Rivals. This other one is Extraordinary Adventures Pirates. So Extraordinary Adventures Pirates is a game that I've been singing the praises of in a number of top 10 lists. This is one that I feel got really overlooked. Now, he sent me recently, because we know Glenn, he sent me a picture. They're changing the cover to try to better market this game. And I think the cover art is a big part of why this game has not been selling well, because it doesn't look exciting. It doesn't look interesting. He's got a new cover coming that looks more exciting, and I think that may help more people to discover this game. which they should, because this game is tons of fun. You get to sail around the Caribbean with your pirate ships. You have pirate ships on 3 different routes. You go and you raid merchant ships, you visit ports, and you do a little deck building by collecting these cards of crew members to get better actions. And you want to, and also there's a bit of a race mechanic where you're trying to race to the end of the Caribbean to trigger the end of the game, but you want to get there with the most loot, because you collect loot that you trade in for victory point tiles. This is a game that is definitely family weight. It's easy for everybody to play, but also has enough strategy for the adults to be totally engaged. And I like it quite a bit.
Okay.
What do you think?
I like it too, but I didn't put it on my list.
Oh, it didn't make your list. Okay, well, that's fair enough. Anyway, and that is Extraordinary Adventures Pirates. That was my number 3. Number 2.
My number 2 is Mysterium.
Oh, crossover. Anything new to add?
No, just that, I mean, even if you have, like, a child who maybe can't, well, not really can't, but maybe will have, like, a harder time just by themselves.
It's great, because it's co-op.
Playing even, but even with their own card, like, they could be the ghost helper. We did that once.
Oh, yeah, we did that one. Yeah. We did that once with a young child, yeah.
So, you know, even with, like, a little kid who maybe you'd think can't handle their own thing, they could just help the ghost, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all I want.
This is going to be a quick one, the 2s, because mine's a crossover also.
Oh.
Any guess?
I don't know.
No? Don't want to hazard a guess?
Something I've said already?
Yeah, it's a crossover. What part of crossover did you not understand?
And it would be that high on your list?
No, it's very high on my list, because I think this is a great family weight game. One of the best. It is Takanoku. Takanoku is a fantastic family weight game. I have loved this game since the first time I played it. And specifically, the only thing I want to add is it would not be anywhere near as high on the list if it wasn't for the expansion. The expansion, in my opinion, only increases the complexity a little bit, but adds a ton more fun. Lots more cards, the ability to have, you have the female panda, now you can make baby pandas. Just thinking that might make an uncomfortable conversation with your kids, but that's okay. I mean, it's done in a very abstract way. The baby pandas are adorable, and the two other pandas are adorable. And we talked about it a lot already, but Takanoku is great, and it is my number 2 favorite family weight game. And now it is time for number 1.
My number 1 is Parade.
Oh, I should have known. You adore that game.
It's really, I mean, it's quick to explain.
Yeah.
It's easy and fun to play. I mean...
Yeah, it's
it can play like up to 5 players, I think.
You can get a lot of people in it. It's a card game where you're playing cards from your hand into the parade.
It's Alice in Wonderland themed, so you have all the characters and they're like marching, so when you put the cards down,
it looks like they're in a parade.
They're in a parade. And
you don't want to have to take any of the cards into your tableau. It's kind of like an anti-tableau building, because you don't want to build a tableau. And if you play a card, you don't have to take any cards in the parade, counting from your card equal to the number of the card you played. So if you played a 5, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't have to take those. Then after that, if any cards match your suit, which would be the same color and character, so like the Mad Hatter, for instance, and I think he's the black suit, or
I think he's purple.
Oh, purple suit. If any of them are those, you'd have to take them. Or if any of them are equal to or less than your number. So since we said it was a 5, any 5s or less, you would then have to take into your tableau. And at the end of the game, you want to have the least points, which is the classic game where you always want no points. Is that golf?
Yeah.
So it's like golf. You want the least points. You don't want points. And cards are worth the points of their value, unless you have the most of that suit, because then you get to flip them face down and they're only worth 1 point each. So like you don't want cards, but if you have a card of a suit, you want the most of that suit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great game. It hits the table a lot for us, and I agree that's a very good family weight game. That was on my short list, but didn't quite make my list. My number 1 was not on your list. This is a unique one.
Okay. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I thought you might have a guess for a second.
No.
You look like you were going to guess. My number 1 is Patrician.
Oh.
I absolutely... How did you not guess Patrician?
I don't really think of that as family weight.
It's very family weight. Okay. Patrician is great. It's a game I don't even know if it's in print right now, so I do apologize if you're looking for stuff to buy, and I'm not sure if this one's available, but I really hope it comes back in print if it's not. Last I checked, it wasn't. Yeah, if anybody sees that, if it is back in print from another company, because it was in print with, in the U.S., it was in print with Mayfair, and they went out of business. So it might be in print in Europe. I'm not really sure, because I think a different company was printing it over there. But Patrician is this great game where you do like hand management. When you play a card, it'll have a color that tells you what city you get to add a level to one of the 2 towers in that city. And you're trying to build up the towers, and you want to have the most levels of your color in those towers in that city. Because if you do, you'll get the points for that tower. So the way it works is each city has 2 point tokens. One, the higher point token is the value you get for having the most tower levels of the taller tower, and it'll have a smaller point token that's the most points that's the points you get for having the most levels of the shorter tower. So but then in addition to that, there's lots of abilities on the cards too, because like there's some that allow you to do weird things like play this card, play a level in this city, but then in a different city you get to take one of the top tower piece and put it on the other tower in that city, or things like that. There's
also the faces with the
set collecting, the faces.
Set collecting.
Yeah, they have like portraits. They have like old style painting portraits, 3 different kinds. And if you can set collect 3 of the same portrait, you get a bunch of bonus points, which actually can be very make or break. I've won the game because of set collecting portraits, which is really cool. It's great. It's got set collecting. It's got area control. It's got hand management. And card drafting, too. I almost forgot about that. When you play a card and it tells you can play a level on the tower, there's face-up cards in each city. You get to take that card into your hand. That's how you replace it. And then when you take that card, you replace it from the deck. But it's out there, and you know it's out there. So sometimes you play in a city, not because you really are trying to take control of it, but because you want the card. Because you want a particular portrait, or you want a card that could play in a specific other city. Which could be really, really awesome. Yeah, Patrician is great. It's been one of my favorites for a long time. It's one of my favorite Euro games, and I definitely think it's a family weight game. It's one of my favorite family weight games. So there you have it. That is our list for our top 10 favorite family weight games. Let us know in the comments down below, what are your favorite family weight games? What games missed our list that you think deserve a mention? And if you enjoyed this top 10 list and you'd like to see us do more like it, be sure to give this video a like, share it on all forms of social media, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Board Game Captain. That's Captain spelled with a K on YouTube. And until next time, game on.